Hey guys, I want to talk you through the process of loading your edited chapter onto the PBWorks wiki. And we'll go through this in class on Tuesday, but I want you to have a screen capture recording as well so you can see when you're home trying to work on this, how you would go step by step through doing this. Ideally, by this time, you've already chosen the chapter that you're going to work on. And if you look, for example, at the list here of editorial work, you can see that a number of you, if not all of you, have identified the chapter you want to work on. That's the first step. Claim your chapter if you haven't yet done that. What you're going to do once you've claimed your chapter is create a page that's going to be the home to your chapter. And what you do there is go to the upper right hand corner here, click Create a Page, and you're going to name your page after whatever chapter it is that you're doing. I'm going to pretend for purposes of this demonstration that I'm doing Chapter 2. So I'm going to title it Chapter 2 Demo, and I'm going to hit Create Page. And here's my blank page to work with. Now, what's the next thing I'm going to do? Well, I need to actually get the chapter. So what I recommend that you do is Google Pride and Prejudice eText Virginia, and you're going to hit a really clean eText version of the chapter. Simply go to that and cut and paste it, or copy as the case may be, to, here we go, make sure every last word is there. Simply copy and paste it to this document. And you want to make sure, of course, you're always hitting save. Now, if you want to do some, formatting things that make it look a little better, like center the title, or if you don't like the font, I'm never crazy about this font. I personally prefer Georgia or Times New Roman. You can do that as well. What you'll want to do, of course, is at some point always remember to save your work. In this case, I'm going to save and continue to edit. Now, what I'm going to need to do is create pages, a separate set of pages for everything that I'm going to annotate. And so what I recommend that you do is you plan this out on a piece of paper, that you have a hard copy or you print out the electronic copy of the raw chapter, and identify the 10 things that you're going to annotate. And also, of course, remember that you want a link to create a link for an introduction to the chapter as well. I'd like to see you create the link to the chapter, that is, say, the link to the introduction to the title of the chapter. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to start to make my links to my other pages. Once I've saved it, as you can see here on the right-hand side, I have my full range of options here. So I'm going to create a page, and I'm going to call this page Introduction Chapter 2. And that's the first link that I'm going to make. So here I've created this page, and right now there's nothing in it. This will be my intro to Chapter 2. Save that. To create the link, what I'm going to do is go back under Pages and Files to the page that I've just created, which I'm not seeing because it's on the next page, Chapter 2 Demo. I'm going to open that back up, and I'm going to go back into my edit mode. I'm going to highlight Chapter 2, and I'm going to click this image right here, this link right here, insert a link to a new page. I'm going to click that, and what am I going to link to? Well, the page that I just created, Introduction. And as you can see, it comes up immediately as an option. I'm going to click that, and now I've done that. So if I save and continue, you can see that I have a link there to the page I've created for the introduction to Chapter 2. Haven't actually put anything in that introduction yet, but I've created the dummy link. Looking at the first paragraph, let's see, what might I want to edit? Well, I'm interested in this idea of trimming a hat. And I think that that's what it is I might want to edit next. What I'm going to do is save the page that I'm working on. go back to create another page, and I'll call it trimming a hat. Or you can come up with better, oops, trimming a hate. That wouldn't be too good, would it? I have to change the title of that. There we go. And this would be my link, trimming a hat for you. And so I'm going to save this page. Now when I go back to my chapter 2 that I've been working on, when I get to this point, clicking the edit button again, to trimming a hat, and that's what I want to create my link to, insert a link to a new page. They already know that I have the chapter trimming a hat. Boom, I have my link. Now, to show you what that's going to look like, if I go to view, this will be my introduction to chapter 2. If I go to trimming a hat, here's my link to trimming a hat. So what you're going to need to do is, I think, work in parallel terms. First, in a hard copy, again, get a copy of your chapter and figure out what 10 links you're going to have. Create a page for each of those links, as well as a page for your introduction. Then go through and create those pages, and then go through and create the links. Once you have that structure, you can, of course, then fill in the information that you need to those pages. It also will provide the opportunity, because if you look at what's going to look like, and we can move these around, we can create these in folders. If you're going to look to see what it's going to look like in terms of the wiki, you could then add on other people's work, you could add on your own work, because it is, of course, a collaborative space. If you want to see, for example, what it is that another sort of test chapter that I was working on for you would look like, again, here we have the link, chapter 1, the introduction that explains the approach you took to the editing of your chapter, a link to want of a wife, want, to be lacking or missing, not to exist, etc. If someone else were glossing the term want, which of course appears repeatedly throughout Pride and Prejudice, they could link to your page, and you could have a collaborative note, as it were, that is doubly directed both toward chapter 1 and toward whatever chapter it is that someone else was working on. Again, we'll go through this a little more in class on Tuesday, but I wanted to show you what the outline looks like, so that this maybe will help you get started to think about laying things out in a structure in a hard copy, then creating both the originating text, your chapter, as a page, and then a series of linked pages that are going to be both your introduction and your 10 annotations.